Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. You can find me over on X at TDC_Calvin. You can find the podcast over on Twitter at FF After Dark. And if this is your first time checking out the channel, thank you guys so much for joining us here and checking that out and deciding to give me a listen. If you can, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment down below. We're going to be putting out content all season long. I'm used to saying off season, but it's actually season now, and week 1 is now pretty much in the books. I'm recording this Monday night, and we've got some stuff to talk about, some injuries to talk about, and that's what we're going to be talking about here today. But that said, if you can, like I said, like the video, subscribe, comment, whatever it is that you want to do, it would just help us out a little bit over there. Podcast is available on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere the podcasts are really found. So thank you guys so much for joining me again here today. Now, with sad heart, I have to bring some bad news. If you haven't heard yet, JK Dobbins has basically torn his Achilles. It's all but confirmed. They're waiting on the MRI results. So I guess there's still like a 1% chance that he has not torn his Achilles tendon yet. It could be also a partial tear, but his 2023 season is now done. Even if it's a partial tear, he's done for the year and he's not going to be back. JK Dobbins, it's sad. It really, really is, because, this is a player who was very highly touted coming out of Ohio State. He was talked about as one of the best rushers in that draft class. And, he comes out in 2020, plays 15 games, is extremely efficient, 134 carries, averaging 6 yards a carry, 9 touchdowns as a rookie. Was absolutely nuts. Goes into his sophomore year, doesn't even make it to the season, tears his ACL in the preseason. I think it's week 3 of the preseason in 2021, and missed the whole year. Comes back in 2022, all the offseason drama there about whether he's going to play or not. Ends up going on the PUP, comes back late in 2022, and he comes back with a vengeance. He played a little bit first half of the season. He played a couple of games, was not right. He did not look right, did not play right. So they shut him down again, put him back on the PUP. Comes back, and he is just absolutely tearing it up. He was averaging about 7.5 yards in those games, which is just crazy. The last 4 games of the season that he played, he had 120, 125, 59, and 93 yards in those games. Only 1 touchdown. Not much in terms of passing, but in the one game, 2023, everyone is back in on JK Dobbins. He plays 47% of the snaps before the injury, just before halftime. And, 8 attempts for 22 yards. Not great there. The whole Baltimore Ravens offense yesterday was a little bit sluggish and not playing right. I kind of chalk that up to a little bit of rust that they're going to have to work off here in the next couple of weeks. But the great part is he had 3 targets, and this is what people have been looking forward to for J.K. Dobbins for years, actually getting involved in the passing work. And, then he goes and tears his Achilles, and it's over for him. So I'm here to talk about really quickly what to do if you have him in a dynasty league. And, you're going to see a lot of people out there talking about how you need to take anything you can get, a 4th round pick for JK Dobbins. And I think that is a bad piece of advice. And the reason why, if JK Dobbins is only a partial tear, and this is a little bit early, right? They're not sure until they get in there if he's going to be a full or partial tear. He's got the MRI confirming that it's an Achilles, but it's just not known the extent and the severity of it. But he's going to be in surgery this week on Friday. If it's only partial, there is a chance that, 2024 he can get back and maybe, not be a full recovery patient from the Achilles. The Achilles is usually the death sentence for running backs as it is. A couple of guys have kind of bucked that trend in the last couple of years. You've got guys like Cam Akers, who's back to playing. He's not quite what he once was, but you've got Deonta Foreman again as well. He took a couple more years than Cam Akers did. J.K. Dobbins is 24 years old. In reality, after the season, he'll be a free agent. I believe his contract is going to toll because of injury. So he's not going to be with the Baltimore Ravens after this year. And I don't think anybody's really going to sign him for anything. He's never going to be a lead back for an offense, probably again the rest of his career. But people are going to be telling you to sell for anything. And if you know anything about rookie drafts, 3rd and 4th round picks are worthless. You can generally you can hit on the rare Puka Nacua type of player, but you're going to miss more often than not. And because of that, I think I'm holding JK Dobbins, and most leagues out there have multiple IR spots. And if you're in Dynasty, there's really not much or shouldn't be much on waivers as well. Now, the reason why I would be holding him versus selling him for a late round pick, for example, is if it is only a partial tear and there is the chance that JK Dobbins is able to get back out on the field next year. He won't be 100%. He probably won't be even close to 50% for at least the next year and a half. Maybe week 10, 12 next year, similar to after the ACL tear that he just went through. You can see a little bit of production from JK Dobbins. Even if it's a full tear, that's kind of the timeline as well. The partial maybe gets back up to speed a little bit earlier than that, but essentially, you're not going to see anything from JK Dobbins until mid-2024 at the earliest, right? If he comes back, and he starts to be even a fraction of what he once was, people will be willing to buy in again for a much higher value than what you're going to get for JK Dobbins now. You're selling at literally his peak floor if you move him right now. It only will benefit you to just throw him on your IR, throw him on your bench, and just sit him and hold him and just wait. Because if he goes to a new team, if he gets a decent contract, a 1-year, $5 million contract, whatever, $3 million contract, it means that somebody's going to try and utilize him next year once he's finally healthy. And again, if he can show anything, his value is going to absolutely skyrocket. And because of that, I think I'm going to be holding him. You're not going to be able to move him for anything. If you are in full rebuild, he's not the type of player that I would be targeting either. You want to take a stab on younger players like a Breece Hall, who's, as I'm recording this, balling out for the New York Jets right now. But that's the type of player you want to take a stab on. The guys that are young enough that you think that they're going to come back and be just fine, and also not with a, career-ending injury such as an Achilles, for example. So unfortunately for JK Dobbins, all value and all hope that he really had is done at this point in time. But I don't think all hope is lost, because you will be able to recoup something next year once he's back out on the field. You're just going to have to wait a while, and it sucks. He's never going to be what he once was. His first round pick value days are completely gone at this point. But maybe he'll be able to get you a second next year if he starts to ball out. At worst, he'll be able to get you a third next year once he signs with the team and starts to get back on the actual football field. So, again, you're going to see people saying, "Oh, take any late round pick, Harrison Bryant for the Cleveland Browns, anything like that." And again, I'm holding for now on JK Dobbins because you're selling at his peak floor in terms of value. It will rebound. Just look at Cam Akers, for example. The roller coaster ride that Cam Akers was, he at least jumped back up to a second round pick worth of value. So you can hope for that for JK Dobbins, but yeah, I would not be holding out hope for a first round pick anytime soon. So that's my thoughts on JK Dobbins. It's a very unfortunate situation, and wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of dynasty advice. I know that there's a lot of redraft, just cut him, but not a lot of dynasty, realistic advice. Everyone's saying just ship them off for anything. It's just bad advice. You're just selling an asset to sell an asset for nothing. So trying to give you guys realistic and useful advice to what to do if you are like me. I have JK Dobbins in a couple of leagues, and it sucks. It really does. I was really hoping for more from him, but you got to kind of roll with the punches. That's the world of the running back right now. They're not long-term assets, and their injury risk is just absolutely insane. So, unfortunate. It is what it is. But yeah, it seems like a lot of injuries happened here in week 1. I might be dropping one video tomorrow on Aaron Rodgers as well. Same injury, Achilles is feared right now, so tomorrow we'll have a little bit more information. But yeah, it's a rough week one, so hopefully you guys are able to hold on in your leagues out there. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you come back to the channel here later this week. We're going to have previews for all the games in week 2, and once week 1 is in the books, we're going to have a little bit more data that we can build off of. And there's a lot of injuries and changes that are going to be happening from week 1 to week 2, and we're here to break it all down for you guys. So make sure you check out the channel here in the next couple of days. We're going to be dropping those videos. And again, if it's your first time, please subscribe to the channel. It helps us out, and you can see more of this content if you like it. So let me know your thoughts and comments down below, and what you'd be getting for JK Dobbins if it was you. If you've sold him, let me know down below as well. Until next time, thank you guys so much for joining me, and have a good night.